Rogers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, and the Women's National Championship game. The UConn Huskies in their home whites, the overwhelming favorite to win an 11th championship in school history.
Imperative that Syracuse make some shots early, try to settle into this basketball game, Beth, but it's the key aspect to them getting into the full court pressure, which has worn so many opponents down.
Orange in their dark jerseys, it's Day and Stewart to take the opening tip. And the Huskies, and one of their 3 All-Americans in the starting lineup, Moriah Jefferson at the point against that zone. Attacking in the lane, and a foul right away on the shot by Morgan Tuck. It will go on Isabella Slim.
It's a good place to start, attacking the zone. You get to the short corner, soft little bounce pass into one of your most efficient players, Morgan Tuck.
The junior out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Honorable mention All-America last year. A little disappointed about that, so good news for her. A WBCA first teamer this year. Spectacular in the semis with 21 points.
Gina Auriemma calls her their Draymond Green. Beth, why? Well, she's the smart playmaker at the 4 position. She can make perimeter shots. You can post her up. She can guard multiple types of bodies on the interior. To me, she makes things work for Gina Auriemma. And he's not bad at his job either.
No, he's been doing all right, the Hall of Famer has. Also the head coach for the United States Olympic team coming up this summer. And the WBCA Coach of the Year. Full court pressure here now to open up for Connecticut. They're going to try and press the pressers. Alexis Peterson off the bounce, and the pull-up. Tuck may have gotten a piece of it. UConn will look to counter quickly. Kia Nurse, and that is the second blocking foul here in the first minute on Slim.
And this has been a Syracuse team whose formula is unique. The turnover margin is crucial. The pressure they apply is crucial. But Quentin Hillsman's team all season has been around 313th in number of fouls committed. If you put the Huskies on the line, they're going to make you pay.
Moriah Jefferson will try for 3, no good. Tuck, offensive rebound. Stick back won't go. Day grabs the rebound. She, by the way, was given the first foul, so it's 1 on her and 1 on Slim. Big question, can Syracuse get some clean looks? Stewart denies them the chance there.
A good decision to push up and pressure, because Connecticut in transition is so explosive. So right away you see Alexis Peterson get up and pressure and try to slow the progress of Moriah Jefferson.
3 ball from Breanna Stewart, and the triple is good. She's already off to a better start than in the semis when she was in early foul trouble.
Well, she's just so versatile, and because you do not have Katie Lou Samuelson, she's got to be the 3-point threat, or at least one of them for Connecticut.
They have been shooting it very well from downtown in the tournament. Brianna Butler way outside. That is within her range, or green light range, from her head coach, Quentin Hillsman.
So let's see, we've seen a block, a 3, and let's see, does the mid-range go? No.
Another offensive rebound, though. Some problems for Syracuse rebounding out of the zone. Breanna Stewart, the 3-time most outstanding player at the Final Four, looking for a 4th. Short corner Tuck, long on the shot. Weak side, Gabby Williams, the new member of the starting lineup, and she kicks it out to Jefferson.
And you can see what Gabby Williams gives you already, and will Quentin Hillsman use a timeout here? Is he trying to just get across half court? I think you got to be careful about letting it get too far out in front of you, Beth.
Peterson gets the open 3. Looked like he was thinking about calling the timeout, and then things opened up in front of him. Nurse off the fake. Tuck, another triple. Slim's got it.
She's off to a slow start, Morgan Tuck, 0 for 3.
Brittany Sykes will pull up. The Orange, the problem finding the bottom of the net here early on. 0 for 5 in their first trip to the finals.
Tuck. Boy, they're patient, they're methodical, they're just navigating until they find the open spot.
Stewart with a hand in her face, can't get that one to fall. This is Breanna Butler. And she's going to be called for the offensive foul as Kia Nurse was there to take the charge.
Well, 3 up, 3 down. Championships and most outstanding player. Breanna Stewart gets the block. She has been so good at that her entire career. And, of course, the versatility of the offensive game, Beth. You need her to move to the perimeter because your freshman, Katie Lou Samuelson, has a broken foot. Yeah, I can do that, too.
She has, in her championship game experience, these seniors have a championship game average. This is their 4th. She's averaging a double-double with 3 blocks per game, just in finals. And there's Nurse for 2, and it's a 9-0 start for Connecticut. The Orange are trying to catch their breath. Good balance for Connecticut. 4 different guys have scored. Butler, step back 3.
They are one and done. Remember, we told you part of their formula was offensive rebounds. Poor pass there by Stewart. But one thing Syracuse has not been able to do yet against Gino Auriemma and the Huskies, get to the offensive glass, something that they are so proficient at. It's one and done.
They've been averaging 17 offensive rebounds per game in this NCAA tournament. They don't have any yet, and we are approaching 4 minutes into this first quarter. Sykes gets the first scoop up and in for the Orange.
And she's crucial because this is a Connecticut team that is outstanding on the defensive end. Sometimes you need somebody to put it on the deck and create their own.
Stewart gets it right back from Tuck, and look at them attack that pressure.
Well, it's not press, break, it's press offense, right? They're not just looking to get it over half court and set up. They want to attack it to score.
One of the problems for the Syracuse zone tonight, even the bigs, spectacular passers for Connecticut. As Peterson gets a kind bounce. The junior out of Columbus has been phenomenal in the postseason, upping her scoring average by 10 per game. And up to 24 a night. Jefferson on the drive, the new career assist leader at Connecticut, passing Diana Taurasi on Sunday in the national semis. Stewart. Short on the shot, but a foul on Cornelia Fondren. It is constant motion and movement for this Connecticut offense.
It's surgical, Beth, whether it's coming in transition or against this 2-3 zone. They're going to just be unselfish. The ball will move, players will move. And, of course, it helps when you have the best player in the country.
Yes. Surgical indeed, Dr. Burke. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, as we've mentioned before, Breanna Stewart grew up just 17 miles from the Syracuse campus. She actually went to Quentin Hillsman's basketball camps when she was a little kid. He said, I knew she was special right away when the first day of camp, she got whacked in the nose, blood dripping down her face. I called her dad, Brian. He said, I'll just patch her up. She'll be okay. He said, I knew right then and there we had a special one on our hands.
A terrific young lady from just north of the Syracuse campus. Wanted to get away, wanted to challenge herself at the University of Connecticut with Coach Auriemma, and she is charged for her first personal foul.
And not surprisingly, she's off to a fast start here. She's eating up defensive rebounds, and she's 2 for 4 from the floor. As difficult a matchup as you'll find in the game. Transition in the mid-range, it matters not. Quentin Hillsman, oh boy, I've got my hands full tonight.
You know, I think coach motivates me in a way that, you know, is different than everyone else on the team. I think that, you know, he's always on me.
That was terrible. That's
you know, when I hear it, it's like it just makes me so annoyed, so mad, that kind of thing. And, you know, he's trying to motivate me to be the best player I can be.
I think the best coaches, Beth Mowins, are the ones who, if they see greatness inside of a player, they feel it's their responsibility to draw it out. And that means making kids uncomfortable at times. And Rebecca Lobo has said that she has watched Gino pull with Breanna the same things he pulled when she was a player. Bench them, give them the silent treatment. And Rebecca said the remarkable thing is, it worked with me, it's working with Stewie.
And what did she say the other day? It'll take Breanna probably a couple of years before she'll learn to like coach again.
Yes, right. Listen, these kids are coached hard, and it's not always pleasant. I would bet if there's 12 kids on the team, probably 12 of them have been brought to tears at a point. But if you're a competitive person, Beth, you want your maximal ability to shine through, and that's what happens with this program.
And after a rocky first year at Connecticut, Stewart has gone on now to become the most decorated and the most successful college basketball player in history. And here she is, number 30 in white. Tuck working down low in the paint, and a foul. If this is going to be on Breanna Day, that's 2. And it is. So the 6'4" junior from Raleigh picks up her second.
This will be the 5th and 6th free throws of the period with 4.5 remaining for Connecticut. And as I mentioned, how high they are in terms of number of fouls per game. And if they put UConn here, it's going to be a long night for them, Beth.
It's also the 15th foul, Doris, so it's a bonus the rest of the way. Breanna Day will check out. Her twin sister, Bria Day, will come on. So Syracuse essentially going to run 4 guards.
And it's interesting that UConn, who has been a pressure team, is pressuring a team that likes to press.
Find her on the drive. Stewart bothered the shot and then tipped it out to Nurse. Tuck setting up inside. Weak side, Stewart, wide open 3. She's already got 10 here in the first 6 minutes. Brian and Heather enjoying the view right now. Her parents.
Now look at the versatility on the defensive end. They'll switch multiple positions. So for a moment, Stewart was checking the small point guard, Peterson.
Another block. That's a couple blocks and a couple of bothers for Stewart. It leads to the breakout the other way. Tuck with the lay-in.
The signature of Breanna Stewart is all over this basketball game. Rebounding, blocking shots, intimidating at the rim, and creating opportunities in transition for her team.
And a Syracuse offense that loves to dribble penetrate is running into a brick wall in there right now. Peterson will stay outside. Again, it's one and done for a Syracuse team that really needs some help on the offensive glass. Tuck, look at her work. Tipped it away from 2 orange jerseys. Had that shot turned back. Jefferson so cool and calm running the point. The double team and the blocking foul on Bria Day. That's her first.
Now, Breanna Stewart is all over the floor, this time against the zone, just staying space. Gabby Williams comes in, and she is on the interior, and then how about on the defensive end of the floor? That wingspan, she has got condor-like skills, and that leads to this, a numbered break 2-on-1 situation.
She is number 1 all-time in career blocks, number 2 in scoring, number 4 in rebounding in their school history. So versatile.
And what do you notice about the pace of this game, Beth? It's being played at the Connecticut Huskies tempo. They're controlling every aspect of this ball game because when Syracuse beat Washington in the national semifinals, Washington was sped up. They were making poor decisions under duress of multiple traps. You've got a Connecticut team that's just saying, okay, we're going to make decisions based on what you're doing, but we will not be sped up.
Turnovers have not been a factor. They do not have a three-pointer. They do not have an offensive rebound. Those were 3 key statistics for them. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Knocked out of bounds by Syracuse. But it's the year's first major, and we'll have the first and second rounds from Augusta right here on ESPN. Jordan Spieth looking to defend his title after last year's epic performance. It's the Masters, Thursday and Friday at 3 Eastern, and also on the ESPN app.
How about our colleague, Mike Tirico, left here on a Sunday night, got to a Monday morning shoot for the Masters. He is the master, Mike Tirico.
His wife, Debbie, is a former Syracuse point guard. We were in attendance here watching the game in the semifinals on Sunday. The foul is charged to Brittany Sykes. And again, back to the free throw line for Connecticut. They are 7 for 8. A rare miss from Mariah Jefferson. She's only missed 5 now the entire season. It's the second one to go. Substitution coming on for Syracuse. They do have a lot of bodies to throw at you. Quentin Hillsman has gone 9 or 10 deep throughout the tournament.
And you had mentioned that they went to the 4-guard lineup, try to spread you out, maybe get a little handling and shooting, and they're going to get a hold of Mariah Jefferson here.
That will be the first on Mariah. Jefferson trying to deny Peterson. They're going to keep it out of her hands, and Sykes will bring it across midcourt. As they work that high pick and roll action. Butler with Nurse draped all over. Breanna trying to call the screen. Hard hedge there by Collier. They don't let her get one up, but Taylor Ford will try and hit it. She's 3 for 3 from downtown.
Yeah, and she checks in prepared to shoot it, Beth. She did it the other night against Washington. A nice job. That's a skill, to be able to come off the bench, shot ready, and in a mode and a mindset to be able to just, hey, I need to contribute in the limited minutes I get.
3 for 3 in this Final Four, and Tuck counters. It's a 12-3 run right now for UConn. Peterson driving the lane, trying to take advantage of Stewart being sucked out on the perimeter and can't hit the layup. Jefferson on the drive, the kick out again. Stewart doesn't get the bounce. Collier, the freshman, keeps it alive. Jefferson long on that attempt. Peterson. Nice on the hesitation there to draw the foul on Nurse. That'll be the first on Kia.
Well, we talked about what they like to do, and that's shoot a number of threes. As Quentin Hillsman likes to say, we like to get 10. They love when he reacts like this. I think they get an awful lot of juice from his persona.
Yes. You talk to the players, they say he's the guy that instills all the confidence in a program that had never been to the Sweet 16, Doris, and all they do is they go out to Sioux Falls, they knock out the #1 seed in the region, South Carolina. You're staring across the court at Tennessee in the region final, and they took them right out, and now moving on and beating Washington here.
They played fearless. They were not concerned with the name across the front of the jersey. They just said, we are equally as talented. We're going to play as hard as you are, and look at where they find themselves, and a chance to upset Connecticut.
Beat one bunch of Huskies in the semis, but a much taller order here tonight with the undefeated UConn Huskies at 37-0 and winners of 74 straight. Here is a live ball turnover. Can the Orange take advantage? They cannot. Good ball movement again. Stewart long on that attempt. Syracuse with numbers. Butler, step back, got away from Nurse, and hits.
And see, the more they can score in transition or semi-transition early offense, the better off they're going to be. Because if you got to try to score against Connecticut's set defense, it's going to be a long night. Those are great.
Final seconds of the quarter. Jefferson gets it up in time. Good if it goes, and she drills the three. What a counter by the All-American point guard.
Well, you give up a three on one end. You think maybe Syracuse is going to end the quarter with a little momentum under duress of the end of quarter clock. Look at that. Mariah Jefferson delivers. Defender draped all over. Not a tremendous size, but delivers under pressure.
Well, coming up after the timeout, we will hear from Orange coach Quentin Hillsman.
Well, Coach, your team was down, but that three-point barrage, you guys have that confidence building, hitting those threes. What's made you able to hit those right now?
Well, we're getting out in transition and we get some unsettled situations. And that's key for us. We got to make some shots in transition and really push tempo.
You pride yourself on being a great offensive rebounding team, but they've got the edge on the boards right now. How can you get better in that category?
Well, we got to just go every time. The biggest opportunities where they're going to the glass really hard, so we got to do the same thing.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Holly. Talking about Quentin Hillsman, the NCAA tournament appearances, just one in the previous 10 seasons before his arrival. And now look at the tournament appearances and certainly the wins. And it's been a style that he has adopted and adjusted to, playing the zone, playing the pressure, and talking about offensive rebounds, turnovers, and threes, and they are not going their way so far.
And that has been their formula. I've never heard a college basketball coach, Beth, say that they don't care about field goal percentage, but his associate head coach, Von Reed, convinced him that it's all about number of possessions. But to this point, 25% shooting in the game versus a Connecticut team that's 42%, and thus the deficit.
Ford will try for three. That's off the mark. The big three for Syracuse are just 3 of 14 in Peterson, Butler, and Sykes.
And yet another possession where they don't get an offensive rebound. We're unaccustomed to seeing this from Syracuse.
They get the live ball turnover. Fondren with the steal. That's the third takeaway for the Orange. Peterson gives it right back. 2-on-1. Jefferson.
Terrific job by Nurse. And Nurse, when she's attacking the basket, either to score for herself or her teammates, that's where she is special, I think, at her most comfortable.
Jefferson now with 9, Tuck with 9, Stewart with 10 to lead the way for Connecticut. On the drive, Fondren can't get the finish at the rim. Butler and Sykes are both out right now for Syracuse, waiting to check back in. Ball's not touching the ground for UConn offensively. Peterson drops it off for Morrison. Fondren, who loves going to that left side, gets tied up. The help defense coming from Collier, and it will go over to Connecticut.
Now this team is always in sound defensive position, and if one teammate gets beat, as Tuck did there, you had Kia Nurse right in the gap, anticipating her teammate might need help. It gets him out into a 2-on-1 break, and I like that Nurse gave that basketball up early.
Against the pressure now, Gabby Williams, who got the start for the injured Katie Lou Samuelson tonight. They really have not had a whole lot of problems. Sykes nearly took it away from her old AAU teammate, Breanna Stewart. They played together during the summers growing up. Talk about commitment. It was a 4-hour drive one way for Breanna Stewart to go down to Philly and play with the Philly Bells in her AAU days. She and Sykes still very good friends. They've been texting each other all week. Off the bounce, Williams fouled. Let's take you back to their younger days in Philly with Sykes and Stewie. Holly Rose got more on the story for us. Holly?
And that friendship has really continued. Brittany Sykes, a tremendous story. 2 torn ACLs within 10 months. She said her teammates have been there for her every step of the way. She really teared up in our meeting talking about the great support of her teammates. But the only other player outside of her teammates that was there for her, texting her, checking on her constantly, was her former AAU teammate, Breanna Stewart.
Yeah, they've got a good bond, the two of them. And, of course, Sykes and her teammates, what a moment emotionally for them talking to us. Not only was it a second chance, but a third chance she's talked about after the 2 ACLs for Sykes.
Beth, I'm so impressed, you know, when you think about consecutive knee injuries, how fearlessly Sykes plays the game. She is a slasher by nature, gets into the mid-range, and that's a real hurdle for athletes to get over, particularly back-to-back injuries like that.
Syracuse is going to turn it over here. Sykes, by the way, along with Morgan Tuck, can both return to school next year, or both could opt to move on.
And if I'm Tuck, I'm going, because if I'm either, I'm going. You've got a limited window with which to make money with your body as an athlete, and with your history of injuries, I would want to maximize that.
It's expected that Morgan would be a high choice. Of course, Stewart would go number 1. Shot clock's under 10. Good screen up top by Williams. And Nurse stepped on the sideline to turn it over. That's 4 for Connecticut.
And one of the challenges for Syracuse now that these two teams are no longer facing off in their conferences is Syracuse is facing Connecticut for the first time in a long time. Many of these players for the first time. And to get us an understanding of how fast things come out, it's going to be an illegal screen on Sykes. It's a difficult thing, particularly in this environment. You couple first time playing UConn with first time on the stage, and that is truly a difficult task.
Their last meeting was 3 years ago. Of course, prior to that, they played every season in the old Big East. There was an opportunity. Breanna Stewart was telling us she was frustrated she did not get a chance as Nurse hits for three. Did not get a chance for a homecoming game inside the Carrier Dome, where she used to go watch games with her dad as a kid. Her homecoming was actually down at Colgate in Hamilton, New York, more than an hour's drive south of her home. Sykes with the pull-up over Stewart. That will allow Syracuse to set up its pressure. Nurse on the drive, and a foul. One of the problems is the size for Connecticut. They're able to see over the top, but of course the good passers they've got at every spot on the floor.
Well, they get it to the middle of the floor, Beth,
Yep.
and then they've got vision and opportunities all over.
Let's go back over to Holly.
Well, very interesting situation for Kia Nurse tonight. Her uncle and aunt, Donovan McNabb, married into the family, and her aunt, Roxy. Where do they sit? Do you sit and support the UConn family when you become a legend as a quarterback at Syracuse? I did ask Donovan what he was going to do, and he's like, I love my family, but I am orange for life. I have seen Roxy. I thought she was kind of bopping back and forth between the sections. So, you know, it's a very difficult situation.
He's got to go home to his wife.
Of course, Roxy is Kia Nurse's aunt, but she is also a former Syracuse point guard who guided the Orange to their last win over Connecticut 20 years ago. That came after the Huskies had just won their first national championship, and now here they are 20 years later trying to get their 11th.
Well, look at the pressure Mariah Jefferson puts on you.
Peterson. You get the sense, Doris, they're having to rush those three looks. And meanwhile, the quick strike the other way. Stewart to Nurse. Timeout, Orange. Those faces looked like at the moment they were Syracuse fans and not enjoying the score at all. The national championship game here in Indianapolis, 38-15. The Huskies on top. How about some of the former Husky legends in the house with two-time champ Sue Bird, Svetlana Abrosimova, and Tina Charles. And a couple of titles for Stephanie Dolson. And then there's the two-time champ and the three-time Wade Trophy winner. And what is it, 3 titles now in the WNBA for Maya Moore.
She's catching up to Diana Taurasi in total number of titles. Maya closing the gap on DT.
Is she catching up in your mind on the all-time #1 player in Husky history?
Who, Maya or
Maya? Scooped up and under by Day.
Listen, it's a great tease because I'm not going to give you what I believe until the second half.
Coming up later, folks.
And Breanna Stewart is going to use a timeout because she didn't like what was happening against their pressure.
They didn't have anybody in the middle of the floor. We'll take the timeout with them. With both teams battling for that last playoff spot in the West. Don't miss both games on ESPN. Of course, the Pacers right now holding on to that last spot in the East. Stewart couldn't get the finish, crashing to the floor. Fondren now the other way. And they're going to turn it over. They had shooters all over the place, and Fondren couldn't make the decision.
Been a few opportunities tonight where Quentin Hillsman's team has used their defense or a miscue or missed shot and gotten into transition, but haven't been able to convert. You cannot miss those chances.
Best turnover margin in the country. The #2 in steals. They really like to push the tempo. They've been up over 80 points their last 3 games. Sykes with the swat coming from behind to get Nurse.
I love watching this young woman play. She plays so hard, and look at the athleticism, the timing, and the ability to do that without fouling.
Junior out of Newark who came in 4 years ago with Butler, and they changed this program. Tuck got it to go as Stewie was hanging around waiting for it.
I'll tell you, she makes 2 or 3 plays a game where her hands are up above the rim.
Tuck and Stewart now both in double digits. Sykes short on the shot. Syracuse is 6 for 23 now in this first half. Huskies, meanwhile, are shooting 46%. They've also hit 5 3-pointers. It's going to be a traveling violation, and we'll go over to the orange.
So there's been a couple of times tonight where 2 or 3 trips in a row the Huskies have come away empty. It's just converting on the other side has been so problematic for Syracuse. And the other part of that is they're taking a lot of shots, but they aren't getting to the offensive glass, which has been so crucial to what they do.
Peterson hits off the crossover. Under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. The Huskies doubling up the orange right now. Stewart, an open look for Breanna. Can't hit it. And that's going to go over to the orange. And they might have to take care of some blood on her elbow and her jersey as well, on her back right there. Would like to take a moment, by the way, to say hello to our dear friend and colleague, Dave O'Brien, who is usually sitting courtside in this chair and is away on assignment with Major League Baseball right now. And over the years, Dave has been such a wonderful voice for college basketball, so informative and entertaining. And Dave, on behalf of our entire crew here, we're thinking of you, and we feel your spirit here in Indy.
That's my partner. I miss him very much. I know he's heartbroken he can't be here, but one of the best in the business, as is Breanna Stewart. And it doesn't matter where she is on the floor. In fact, UConn will mix the places in which they deploy her, and she has been terrific from three-point territory. One of the areas I think she's most improved in her career, Beth, is the ability to move without the basketball, to find the gaps and seams, to become a target for her teammates.
The other thing that Gino has always talked about, similar to Diana, similar to Maya, these big moments, she's not afraid to succeed and to shine, as she has done in her championship game history. Look at the burst by Jefferson to get out on the run. Scoops it up with the right hand on the left side. Coast to coast for Mo Jeff. Fondren, nice use of the screen for 2.
I like her substitution because, like Sykes, she can create off the bounce against good defense, and they're going to have to make those kinds of plays to make any inroads here. Sometimes Connecticut is gapped so well, they're so sound defensively, it takes good individual offense.
Oh, what a ball fake by Tuck to get the defender up and go right by.
How about the last 2 possessions? Mariah Jefferson with speed, and then Tuck with a little bit of savvy. Back-to-back buckets in different fashion.
Butler, Jefferson getting a turn on right now. She just cannot get a clean look after setting a new NCAA single-season record with 128 made threes this year. Fondren's going to take it inside instead.
We feel like every basket has had to be an individual play.
Yep.
Not necessarily off the action they run.
Syracuse with just 1 assist on their 9 buckets.
It took some time for Mariah Jefferson to understand how to mix speeds. In this instance, she's just going to use that blazing speed. And how about the finish? Has to go over her head. Crosses over Butler. That is perfect.
5'7" senior out of Glen Heights, Texas. 2 times the Nancy Lieberman Award winner for the best point guard in the country. She was so clutch last year in this championship game on the defensive end with the job she did containing Jewel Lloyd. Sykes short on that 3, and again, Nurse was right there in her grill.
Well, you think about the great history of point guard play at Connecticut, and Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, multiple-time winners, and of course the great Skylar Diggins.
Stewart swoops to the bucket for 2. A dozen now for Breanna. Huskies shooting 50% now in the game. You know, they come in, the top scoring team, the top scoring defense. Numbers are there for a reason with the success they have had not only this season, but on their 74-game winning streak. All of them have been double-digit wins, and they have won 121 of 122 games.
And Quentin Hillsman said because of his association with Connecticut in the Big East, he said, I've been on every end of that. I've had the lead at half by 9. I've been blown out. I've lost in some heartbreakers.
Collier gets fouled on the drive. Reminder coming up at the half, Kevin Nagandi, Rebecca Lobo, and Kara Lawson will have our Northwestern Mutual halftime report. Going to be hard to avoid a conversation about how well the seniors have been playing. With Tuck now 13 points, Stewart with 12, Jefferson with 11. Outscoring Syracuse by themselves so far.
Well, that's what Gino has said. He said, I trust those 3 seniors implicitly. They have proven over and over that they are prepared to meet the biggest moments.
And what has been a bit of a bittersweet Final Four, knowing that they have a job to do, but also knowing it is their last game together here tonight. Peterson, the kick out. And UConn forces the turnover. Shot clock is off, so they can hold it for 1.
I'm not sure they saw the blood on the back of that jersey of Breanna Stewart because it's still there.
And a piece on her shorts there as well. Very prominent, that one on her back. Final 15 seconds of the half. Stewart will pull up and knock it down.
Can't guard that release point. Too high, too good.
Syracuse can't beat the buzzer with that shot. 50-23. The seniors with 38 of those points for Connecticut as they try and close out their collegiate careers. Perfect in the postseason. And look at the numbers tonight, all in double digits already. And one of those, Breanna Stewart with Holly.
Breanna, how do you think it describes the mindset of these 3 seniors? You guys are outscoring Syracuse by yourselves.
We wanted to come out and make sure that our last game was our best one. And, you know, in order to do that, we need to win.
Despite the score, how will you close out this second half? What will the focus be?
I think the focus will continue to be to, you know, contain their guards, don't let them shoot threes, and, you know, handle their pressure. They're going to come out in the second half and try to, you know, create a run for themselves.
You're 20 minutes away from your 4th national championship. How can you stay focused on that?
That's exactly it. 20 minutes away, that's it.
Thanks, Breanna.
Thanks.
Thank you, Holly. 50-23. UConn leading Syracuse. Let's get it over to Kevin Nagandi and the crew for the Northwestern Mutual halftime report as the Husky seniors try and go out in style.
Syracuse not getting to their game in part, Beth, because UConn is so sound in every phase.
Big difference for the big 3. For Connecticut, 38 points for Tuck, Jefferson, and Stewart, and they score on their first possession of the second half. A much different story for the Syracuse big 3 as they go just 5 for 22, and they've got to figure out something for Alex Peterson, who has been hounded by Jefferson, the WBCA Defensive Player of the Year, into just 2 for 10 shooting.
And keep in mind, Bev, you can see the constant switching that the versatility UConn possesses on the defensive end of the floor. It makes it nearly impossible for you to run offense unless you have a good counter to the switching. And thus far, Syracuse has not had that counter.
And DB, how special is it when you've got 4 and 5 players that can switch off and play point guards the way that UConn can?
And I think that's the overlooked part of their championship. They're so pretty offensively, you forget that it's built on the defensive end.
Stewart hits on that attempt. Here is Peterson with the matchup on Jefferson. They have not been able to free up their 3-point shooters so far, which is another aspect of how critical their game is. They're just 2 for 12 tonight. Day tries to score on the left side. Tuck had it and then fell out of bounds. Moments ago, Holly chatted with Brittany Sykes.
Well, despite the big deficit, what did you guys talk about in the locker room about ways to get back in this game?
Well, we just have to take it in 4-minute segments. You know, just chip away at it. We got an offensive rebound, because when we offensive rebound, we can stop those type of runs, and they're a really big transition team. So if we get them offensive rebounds and just chip away at the 4-minute segments, we'll do good.
What's left in your group that lets us know that you're not going to give up in this fight?
It's the national championship. This is what you came here to do. You have to compete, and you have to come to play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's the key. So often with the disparity with UConn and how they win games, you'll see a team sort of lose it mentally and stop competing, and that's when it gets ugly. So Syracuse, for me, Beth, and Quentin Hillsman, you've established so much in your 10-year run at Syracuse. This half is as much about pride. You may not be able to overcome this deficit, but there should be no quit in your team.
It's a team that set a school record with 30 wins this year. A team that was ranked number 23 in the preseason polls, and really they speak about the rest of the country other than Syracuse, or other than UConn, where there was a lot of parity this year. It was a wide open tournament other than the Huskies, and it's Syracuse that survived that. Nice dish, Tuck to Gabby Williams.
You can see why he calls her their Draymond Green, right? The smarts and playmaking and passing ability that she has, Morgan Tuck. 4th assist for Morgan. If you want to know what this program's about, how about 4 different players with at least 100 assists?
Sykes with the drive there, and how they pass it down from team to team, generation to generation. Tuck was telling us that she learned how to become a better passer by watching the player at her position before her, Stephanie Dolson.
Oh, she was the master. They ran their offense through her, and that ability, as you see, Steph Dolson, who was a part of 2 national championships in her own right, and of course went a little bit outside the UConn code once she graduated in terms of hairstyle.
Purple not allowed in stores, but now she's in the pros. Have at it. Stewart with a catch and draws the foul. That will be the 3rd on Breanna Day, and Breanna Stewart to the line. Holly?
Well, the beauty of UConn is they tend to recruit kids who are all about the team. Breanna Stewart was one of the top recruits in the country, but when she got ready to sign her letter of intent, she did not pull one of those fancy press conferences or the hats where she's going to switch it. Her and her dad, Brian, she's just doing it on the top of their car in front of his job. Very low-key. That's the kind of superstar Breanna's been. It's not all about the lights and the attention. It's about the hard work and just getting it done on the roof of your dad's car.
I don't think he would sign someone. You get the sense in Gino Auriemma that he doesn't want to sign the player who, with all due respect to our company, wants to be signing on ESPN with a little drama.
Stewart snags the rebound, the long outlet to Jefferson, who pulls up for 2. The seniors connect again.
Yeah, she was working hard on that pull-up. Think about her ability to score in all phases. We saw her get to the rim. She's a vastly improved 3-point shooter, and now the in-between game.
Jefferson is another one who had to kind of bide her time, wait her turn as a freshman. She made contributions certainly to that championship team, and then jumped into the starting role as a sophomore. Sykes, nice spin off the window.
Really nice looking player, Beth. Her ability, as Quentin gets to a timeout, her ability to create so important. Yep, Breanna Stewart has always been a shot blocking phenom. How about get your head up and get it to a teammate? Easy opportunity. Connecticut making it look easy.
16 points for Breanna Stewart. UConn shooting 54% as they look on inside Gamble Pavilion back on the Stores campus. Getting ready perhaps to celebrate an 11th national championship, and for Stewart and her senior mates, their 4th in a row. Never happened before in college basketball history. Remember during UCLA's run of 7 straight on the men's side, the freshmen were not eligible to play. So a lot of those guys won 3 straight, but nobody's ever won 4. As they continue to slice right through the pressure.
Well, once they get the ball to the middle of the floor, Beth, and you put it in the hands of Mariah Jefferson, it's a 3-on-2 situation, and you know the vast majority of times she will make the right decision.
Alexis Peterson, step back was blocked by Williams. Fondren has it and muscles it up.
But she's got some toughness to her, Fondren, because she's staring at the great shot blocker, Breanna Stewart, with all of that wingspan.
Morgan Tuck, the double team comes, and it's Fondren who came over to help and draws the walk.
One of the things Gino Auriemma said to us at shoot-around was in the second half of the 1981 championship, Bob Knight deployed Isaiah Thomas in the middle of the floor, so the point guard became the recipient after the first line, and he became, against Carolina, the playmaker. And it's so interesting that even in this moment, he's drawing on his history as a sportsman, as a basketball aficionado.
Using a little Bob Knight. And why not? Back here in the state of Indiana, that's the perfect time to pull it out. Also, of course, the home state of that legendary UCLA coach, John Wooden. Breanna Butler, there has not been a lot of open air space for her.
That's a quick tie-up.
Yeah. Going to be a held ball. Will stay with Syracuse. In basketball, pros and college, Phil Jackson is now 1 in front of Gino. That could change in the next hour. And then, of course, John Wooden with 10. Red Auerbach, 9 with the Celtics. And the head coach emeritus at Tennessee, Pat Summitt, with 8.
Now, the thing I like is I don't get the sense that he's necessarily comfortable with the comparison. But smarter basketball people than me, and I'll talk Jeff Van Gundy and Bob Knight, have said that if they were starting a basketball program, regardless of gender, he's one of the first people that they would look at. That speaks volumes.
He's a man from very humble beginnings. Grew up in that basketball hotbed of Philly. Learned from some of the best in that city before moving on to Connecticut and really taking a program that was nowhere at the time and slowly and meticulously building it into this championship team now over the last 20 years. They've won 10 titles. Right now, though, it's an 8-0 run for Syracuse. And they're going to be whistled for the foul. 4.5 to go here in the third. Gino Auriemma, the head coach of the UConn Huskies, continues chasing history.
During the last 2 off seasons, UConn has turned to the Marines to try to build some mental toughness and some team leadership. They have been getting up very early every single week, working with Gunnery Sergeant Beltran. Gino Auriemma said he was amazing. He put the team through activities, learning to work together in ways that they never had before. Breanna Stewart and the players say that it was very tough, but it really built some team leadership amongst the group, and they're very proud of what Gunnery Sergeant Beltran put them through to be more mentally tough this season.
I like the story, Holly, where they come to the gym one day and they're expecting that sort of outdoor training that we just saw video of, and instead the lights were out in the gym. The only lights flickering were the exit sign bright lights, and the Gunnery Sergeant started screaming and chaos broke out.
And if you can handle those kind of moments, you at least know what to expect when the best full court pressure that we've seen in this postseason comes at you. They have handled it with a lot of poise here tonight and really have been, for the most part, unaffected by that Syracuse pressure. And in fact, it has been the UConn defense that has been dominant, and the foul will be called on Stewart. That's her second. Thursday at 5 Eastern, it's the Frozen Four in Tampa with Boston College and Quinnipiac facing off in the national semifinals on ESPN2. Visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships.
I'm sure it'll be a great Frozen Four, but I'm heartbroken that there will be a new champion crowned because the Providence College Friars went down.
That is always a fun event. Substitution here. Ford comes on for Butler. Under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Tuck gets the rebound. She's got 15, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Stewart's got 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. She could be flirting with a triple-double here tonight. course, remember, she has won the previous 3 Most Outstanding Player awards, and perhaps a little friendly battle between those two as to see who's going to get this year's if the story continues to unfold this way.
And this is what you want to see, and that got the Syracuse bench up and reacting. A little bit of frustration on Stewie's part. You could see it. They don't want to concede a possession, but this is what you want. Play hard. This is about pride, and I think Fondren has been absolutely terrific all day, competing, trying to get to the window. That is nicely done, Beth.
Well, Doris, this is also the winningest senior class in Syracuse history, and the job they have done over the course of the last 4 years in Fondren and Morrison, Butler and Taylor Ford, and Sykes, who came in with them and who has 1 year if she wants it.
We think 2 things when we think Syracuse, at least I do. I can't do a television show without finding somebody from the Newhouse School of Broadcasting, one of the best in the entire country.
They're everywhere.
And of course, basketball success, most notably under Jim Boeheim, but certainly now with Quentin Hillsman at the helm of the women's program.
Sold them on trying to build something special and do it a little differently than everybody else. We've talked about their style and how unorthodox it is. But it's an opportunity if you like to play a lot of in-your-face defense and run the floor and shoot a lot of threes, it's not a bad place to be.
Do you use a timeout here if you're Gino? Because they're making a little run, setting up their pressure. You're starting to feel them a little bit. It's a 12-0 run. You're starting to get a look at the multiple presses. There's a different level of intensity on the defensive end, and another steal here.
Fondren gonna go right at the rim. 14 in a row for Syracuse, and it's now back within 19. The skip to Nurse, steps inside the line. Orange come out with it, Sykes. Jefferson took a chance, Brittany will pull up, and here comes Syracuse.
A little complacency on Connecticut's side, a little intensity, and now Gino will use a timeout. They're within 17.
When's the last time Connecticut has had to use a defensive timeout?
As I said, Beth, you can't concede mentally because the score is so wide. You've got to play for pride and go possession by possession. Sykes told Holly we're going to play in 4-minute segments. Well, guess what? Advantage Syracuse last 4 possessions because this run has been terrific. And you're starting to see the Syracuse that showed up throughout the NCAA tournament. Pressure turning into easy baskets in transition. And Sykes and Fondren have been at the lead of this thing, and wisely, a mid-range opportunity. And Gino Auriemma, the 10-time national champion, uses a timeout, Beth.
Not only did they win the 4-minute segment, Doris, they pounded them. A 16-0 run for the Orange. And can they continue this and make the champs sweat it out a little bit here in the second half?
That group of Syracuse alums on the women's program,
Yep.
They are working hard. They're sweating as much as the players, I think.
There has not been a lot of postseason success to cheer about in this program, and this year has been such a different story.
You got to get some verve back. You got to get back to that attack mentality if you're Connecticut.
Shot clock winding down. Collier will have to put it up for 3. Oh, nice offensive rebound for Stewart.
Now look at Stewie. Let me just take control of the possession and tell you what play we're running.
Senior doesn't want to let this one get away. Nurse fouled on the drive.
I think they're going to say it was on the pass.
It was on the pass. They will get a fresh 30 here. That is the 4th foul of the quarter on Syracuse.
Remember, women's college basketball, the rules change. On the 5th, you start to shoot 2 free throws. There's been some discussion about whether that's good for the game or bad for the game. I certainly like the pace of quarters. There's the drought for Connecticut. Can they break it?
approaching 6 minutes without a bucket for UConn. Get it inside to Tuck. 2 feet in the paint. Nice pass by Tuck to the other side for Collier. 5 assists for Morgan. And their first points in over 6 minutes. Day missed it inside.
Gino Auriemma waving his fingers like, let's go, get the ball moving. Let's get some pop to our offense again.
Nurse, the 3 rattles in and out. Butler still can't dial it in, but Sykes with the offensive rebound. And it's going to Connecticut with 10 seconds.
Let's watch Morgan Tuck do work. Again, her passing skills, the ability under duress. Look at 4 bodies are around her. She doesn't panic, Beth. She simply drops it to the weak side because she knows that's where it's open.
Ford will come on here for defense for Syracuse. Jefferson. Syracuse will throw the double at her. Tuck has time, finds Collier off the bounce, gets it inside and gets the bucket. 2 buzzer beaters in 3 quarters tonight for Connecticut.
Just precision, execution. Always one of the best offensive teams in the country. You want to press us, we're going to put it to you with numbers in transition. Just perfect execution against a Syracuse team that had seized a little bit of momentum. Beautifully done from Collier.
He is the Lord of the Rings, 10 of them to be exact. He's run out of fingers if he gets another one. Coming up next, we'll hear from Coach Auriemma.
Well, Coach, Syracuse went on a 16-0 run there. You called a defensive timeout. What was your message to your team at that point?
You know, we knew at some point it could get like that. And no matter how hard you try, sometimes you can't stop it. We've got a veteran team in some ways. You know, our 3 seniors are veterans. And we made some uncharacteristic mistakes. You know, they sped us up a little bit. But we got it back. And now we'll see if we can't be a little more aggressive and a little bit smarter these next 10 minutes.
10 minutes to a title, Coach. What will you say to them when you take the huddle right now to remind them what to focus on?
Well, that last run reminded them what to focus on. So I don't think we're going to be looking too far ahead right now.
Sounds good, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Well, when you play for Gino, you can expect success. His 4-year players, 70 of them total. 68 have been to the Final Four. 52 of the 70 have won a national championship.
And keep in mind, Beth, this is a run in a program that prior to his arrival had 1 winning season, and now it's a great lineage. It's a generational type program. All of the stars have come back to watch them, and I truly wish more women could be coached by Gino Auriemma. I don't think it's easy. I think he coaches them hard, but I don't know a competitive athlete who wouldn't want to maximize their abilities, even if it means you're uncomfortable at times.
And you go back to the early days at Connecticut before Gamble Pavilion, they were playing inside a building on campus where you had the track team running around the outside during practice, the volleyball team, the wrestlers were all in there at the same time.
It was also a time at which, you know, Chris Daly could be seen setting up chairs and bleachers and doing all kinds of things for the program. She and Gino actually shared 1 phone in a very small office. They called it a cubicle-sized office.
How far they have come since then. Underway here in the 4th quarter.
Well, they have made so often tonight that breaking that pressure look easy, just getting the ball over the top, getting themselves into numbered situations. It's been limited windows of effectiveness for Syracuse in terms of their pressure.
DB, during the tournament, as Stewart has fouled on the drive, they've been averaging turning over opponents 20 times a game and scoring 20 points off of those turnovers. It's been a much different case so far today.
Well, Rebecca Lobo was talking about Connecticut is beating Quentin Hillsman's team at their own game. Offensive boards, 3-point territory. and with their defense. There's been so much discussion, Beth, about where Breanna Stewart sits in the great history and lineage, not only of UConn, but of best players in the country. And I would say she will walk away as the highest achieving player in women's college basketball history. You look at what she has done in yet another national championship. 3-time first-team AP All-American, first one, a 2-time Wade Trophy winner. So for me, she's the highest achieving player, Beth. I would say I have to keep Diana Taurasi at the top of the list, a very 1-1A sort of circumstance, and maybe an equal one, and here's why. As you see Syracuse operating under duress. It's Stewie boards it again, and they're going to get her for a travel. The difference for Breanna is she has had, this year and last, Morgan Tuck and Mariah Jefferson, two of the best players in the country playing alongside her. When Diana won titles in 03 and 04, no disrespect to the role players around her, but that's exactly what they were, role players. It was Diana Taurasi's brilliance and Gino's brilliance. And if fate had not stepped in and Svetlana Abrosimova and Shea Ralph get hurt her freshman year, they could have played for 4. Yeah. And Gino talks all the time about fate and what role that plays when you're winning championships. But I have the utmost respect for Coach Auriemma and Breanna Stewart, because you know what Breanna Stewart entered in as? Breanna Stewart entered into college basketball as an unsure, uncertain, sort of shy kid. And she is walking out a woman, Beth. One who is the most dangerous basketball player in college basketball history. So don't tell me there's not value in college athletics. There's value in it. Because when you can compete at the highest level athletically and do it on the academic side, which UConn players consistently do, you can't ask for a better foundation. And I'm not talking about basketball success. I'm talking about life success.
It has been a remarkable run for her and these seniors. And when you think of all the greats over the years, back in the early days, Carrie Bascom, and then to Lobo and Rosati and Walters winning that first championship. The 4 players that were all drafted in the first 5 picks in that 2002 draft. Gino has talked about how Stewie will live amongst those giants of UConn basketball. And then there's also a little twinge of, gosh, I'm going to miss this kid. His phrase was, there is not another transcendent player like her coming around. And so while they depart the UConn campus, you start to look towards who's got next for Connecticut. They have 4 players we're watching here tonight, perhaps 5 that could be in the starting lineup next year for Connecticut, including Katie Lou Samuelson, who is out of this championship game with a broken foot.
I'm amazed at the growth of both Nafisa Collier and Gabby Williams this year. Talking about 2 kids who didn't look prepared when they were playing the big-time opponents early in the year. And their growth in such a short period of time is a tribute to the staff. And make no mistake how important Chris Daly is, and Shea Ralph and Marissa Mosley are to the success of this program. You don't do much on your own. You need great people around you, high-character people.
Oh, by the way, they also have the Prep National Player of the Year, one of them anyways, Crystal Dangerfield, coming in to run the point as Mariah Jefferson departs. And Dangerfield is a recruit out of Tennessee. Shot clock winding down. Morgan Tuck fouled on the shot by Butler. That's the 3rd on Butler. The Stewart triple-double watch, by the way, right now. 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, as you're talking about, is Breanna Stewart one of the greatest to ever play at UConn? You know, Gino Auriemma has a great quote about her. He said that rip-your-heart-out mentality doesn't come naturally to her. We've had to help her. She's such a nice kid, such a great expression, a fun expression on her face all the time. But come March, she has a look in her eye, and she has ripped opponents' hearts out in March every single year of her career. So even though she does it in such a kind, friendly way, make no mistake, she's ripping it out, Doris.
Yeah, you know what, Holly, I like Gino's line about her. He said, Stewie pretends like she's humble and nice and kind and would rescue cats from trees. That's the impression she wants to give you, but she is a competitor at heart. And I like what Jim Boeheim said about her. And Shannon Spake was nice enough to ask the question for us. And he talked about what a physically gifted kid, but more importantly, what a tremendously nice kid Breanna Stewart is.
But no Husky's going to help any cats out of trees anytime soon. As she winds down her career. There was a nice moment during the starting lineups tonight when she looked at the coaching staff. She was the last one to be introduced, and in the darkness of the arena, you could still pick up her smiling and looking at the coaches saying, last time. And they announced her name, and out she came.
They make this look easy. And I know people have taken that as an opportunity to take pot shots at the women's game. I think it's disrespectful. They make it look easy because there's a level of expectation placed on this program every single day. Dad, react a little bit. Your girl is flat balling right now.
21, 10, and 6 for Stewart on her final night in a UConn jersey. Sykes, she'll try for three, that won't go. Scrap for the loose ball, breakaway for Jefferson, just out of her reach. And out of bounds. Let's see if we can catch her, Stewie, during the intros, and look at the smile starting to form. My last one.
She doesn't look nervous there, Beth. She looks prepared to meet the moment, doesn't she?
I would guess that once you are into the championship game, there's a load off, and now let's just go out and play and have fun one more time.
How many times do you see in sports, though, where a streak is at stake or somebody's going for a back-to-back, and sometimes the pressure, you feel it. This is a group and a program that seems to wear so gracefully the chase for titles. It's not easy.
Morrison hits mid-range, timeout Orange. 5:09 to go for the national championship. Back to Indy in a moment. Back here at the national championship game in Indianapolis. Amongst the dignitaries, the NBA commissioner is with us, Adam Silver. Of course, the WNBA draft is coming up, and according to Rebecca Lobo, here's what she thinks those top 5 are going to look like.
That draft will be 1 week from this Thursday. Breanna Stewart, of course, has been the prohibitive favorite to be the top pick. Mariah Jefferson moving up the draft board. San Antonio has pick number 2, Danielle Robinson, an injury. But again, 3 of the top players in the WNBA draft. And how about those 3 players on Rebecca's draft board? They've got 51 of the 71 points.
So they are outscoring the Syracuse team by a deuce. Syracuse continues to fight. They force the turnover. Catch the Frozen 4 second semifinal from Tampa as Denver and North Dakota face off Thursday at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN2 and watch ESPN. Visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships.
You're just rubbing it in with the promos.
Friars will be back, DB. It may not go in Syracuse's favor here tonight, but let's not lose sight of the bigger picture here that while Connecticut has continued its dominant run, 3 first-timers that had never been to the Final Four were here this weekend in Syracuse, Washington, and Oregon State. We have seen a lot of parity around the country. And the message certainly for the number 4 seed to get here for the first time, hey, there's got to be a lot of other programs out there saying we can be the team to do it next year.
I have so enjoyed spending time with Quentin Hillsman and the Syracuse kids. Oh boy, Alexis Peterson.
Peterson wincing as she reaches for the shoulder. It was a held ball situation, and you know when those occur, everybody's trying to yank that ball in their direction. The athletic trainers are out to check on her. Number 1 in orange there. Oh, and gets the arm caught underneath Kia Nurse. Such a key cog in their postseason run, the play of Alexis Peterson, and as well as Brittany Sykes and Butler. This backcourt for Syracuse has been fantastic.
This kid's going to be at the top of everybody's best point guards in the country next year. She has been, I know it's been a little bit of a struggle to see the Syracuse crowd responding. That kid is tough as nails and can play.
In for Syracuse, Maggie Morrison. A tough moment for her in what has otherwise been a fantastic NCAA tournament. You know, in the 30 years prior at Syracuse, they had 2 tournament wins, and this year, 5 of them, to go deeper than they'd ever been before. Jefferson around and out. Offensive rebound and the putback for Gabby Williams.
That's one of those players coming back, Beth, and she's improving with every repetition, Gabby Williams. I cannot, and Holly gave the report at the start of the show where Gabby told her, a year ago at this time I was swimming, I was lost. What a transformation for Gabby Williams.
This is just her 11th start and the first in a while since Katie Lou Samuelson took over the job mid-season, and then Katie Lou got hurt on Sunday in the semis. Williams herself has had to overcome an ACL injury over the course of her career. And here she is, sticking the mid-range.
She makes that, and then in a year from now, expands out to the three-point line. She's going to have a difficult time checking this kid.
9 points for Williams tonight, getting the start. Fondren there with the pull-up. Cornelia Fondren with 16. In a bright spot for Syracuse tonight. But the countdown now starts to begin. Under 3.5 minutes to go. Holly?
Good news on Alexis Peterson. That right shoulder has been put back in place. She can return to the game.
That is good news indeed for Syracuse. Stewart off the miss. Morrison. Whistle and a foul as Stewart will help up her old buddy Sykes.
I like that those two continue to text this week. You know, you're playing a competitive game as you see Peterson on the sideline. But the fact that those two competitors remain good friends and don't let national championship stand in between them influence at all their friendship. You can compete.
There were a lot of conflicted allegiances in Central New York tonight with the hometown team and Stewart, the hometown kid, and Breanna so gracious that it's so cool not only to be here myself in a national championship game with my team, but to see the orange jerseys on the other side is amazing for that program as well.
She said it feels, in fact, Beth, like things have come full circle. She's already the first player in history to be named the most outstanding player 3 straight times. She said it when she came here, I want to win 4 titles. In as quiet and humble as fashion as you can make that kind of statement. The ability to play through contact, one of the major areas of improvement for her. And so 238 away from that 4th title and perhaps 4 most outstanding players. Can you put your arms around that, Beth?
24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. I'd say she is on her way, Doris, to getting that 4th. And to go 24-0 in your NCAA tournament career, you end every season on a winning note. And oh, by the way, then get ready to go try out for the U.S. Olympic team and probably go to Rio and play for gold.
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking that at her level right now, they're going to be able to keep her off the team. And I say that with all respect, because to make that kind of statement that I want to come and win 4, and to do it without sort of repeating it and tapping your own chest and tooting your own horn, it's never been what she's about. She just simply said when asked, this is what I would like to do, and has quietly gone about her business.
How about her post-game comment to Holly Rowe after the semis? Said, we're going to come back on Tuesday night and we're going to win it. The guarantee. And then the next day when we talked to her, she followed up and said, I took a little heat for that, but why wouldn't I say we're going to win? That's our intent. We're not coming back to lose on Tuesday night. Has stepped it up at the right time as Tuck now with 19. Approaching 2 minutes to go for a 4th consecutive championship and the 11th for the UConn program. And there are some substitutions now, 3 of them coming to the scorer's table to get ready to check in. Will all the seniors come out here together? Timeout, Connecticut, just for substitutions, and here they go. Four years, 4 national championships for Stewart, Jefferson, and Tuck. Williams goes to the left hand. Collier in a shot clock violation. Not just a group hug for the players, Doris, it's the parents as well, been together for 4 years, doing a lot of traveling to games to watch their daughters play. There's your cover shot right there. And congratulations to that group of Orange seniors as well. Morrison, Fondren, Butler, perhaps Brittany Sykes in her final game, and Taylor Ford. The best season in Syracuse history.
Yeah, congratulations to the Syracuse seniors on a wonderful run and putting this program in the national consciousness. And congratulations to the Connecticut Huskies senior class, who have won at an extraordinary level, but they have done it with class and dignity, and they've played the game the right way.
That's the scene in Gamble Pavilion, and they've stored the court to get a closer look at the big screen. Number 2 in white with the ball right here, by the way, is the other senior who's been at Connecticut for 3 years with the team, Breanna Stewart, who will go out celebrating another title as well. And then be on her way to med school. The youngster they talked about in the pregame show who responded to a Breanna Stewart tweet to walk on and join the team. Shot clock is now off for UConn. Trying to get a shot for Polito. Here she goes, and she's got it. There's the capper for the former walk-on senior. 11th title in program history and the 4th in a row. The national championship goes to Connecticut for the 4th year in a row as the dynasty fulfills its destiny. An historic moment as a senior class wins a 4th championship in a row for the first time in college basketball, men's or women's history, as we take a look at tonight's Capital One Cup performance with Breanna Stewart.
This is the highest achieving collegiate player in history. Breanna Stewart, the baddest woman in a Connecticut jersey, doing it in every phase of the game, the mid-range, the long range, as a shot blocker from three-point territory in the biggest moments on the game's biggest stage. This kid has delivered over and over and over again, Beth.
How about to the tune of 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 of her 4 championship games. She has scored over 20. And Breanna now with Holly Rowe.
Well, Breanna, when you came in as a freshman, you said, maybe I'll win 4 national championships. But to say that and to accomplish that, what does it feel like tonight now?
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, that was our goal coming in here once we were freshmen, and, you know, to carry it out, win like this as seniors, it's unbelievable.
Your seniors did it in a big way. All 3 of you performed at your highest level tonight. What is it like to go out like that at your very best version of yourself?
We're going out with a bang. We're going out with a bang. That's it. No more. We did what we were supposed to do.
Your parents were up in the stands as the 3 seniors came out and they were hugging each other. Your parents are all up in the stands hugging each other. What has this journey been like for all of you?
You know, I created 2 best friends coming into college, and so did our parents. They're all best friends with each other, and, you know, we're going through the same stuff together.
All right, we'll see you back up on the podium in just a moment, young lady.
Okay.